What are the biggest mistakes that home buyers are making right now in the Austin market? I'm Jeremy Knight, your favorite Austin realtor. Look, we are helping a lot of buyers buy in the Austin market, and guess what? It is a down market. Why is that? A lot of people are stressed about the mortgage rates that are really hampering prices. We've also seen a ton of inventory hit the market. And so a lot of people are uneasy about the market, but a lot of buyers are taking advantage of this market as well. So today, what I want to go through and talk about the big mistakes I see buyers making in this market, and maybe I'll give you a couple big mistakes that I see sellers make in this market. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe, share this with a friend. Let's get into it. Number one, what do I think buyers are making big mistakes on? Buying new construction. Now, look, new construction is a great way for home buyers and first-time buyers to get in the market. Why? Because a lot of them are giving you deals on interest rates. A lot of them are giving you deals on the overall price of the home. The challenge, and what I'm going to talk about is, I think the big mistake is here in a second. But we've had plenty of buyers get a reduction in the price of the home. They've gotten interest rates way lower. What I see them do wrong is they don't actually go get an outside lender to verify all those fees. Because what happens is some of these builders wrap in some of those fees into the overall costs. Now they're giving you $20,000 in closing costs, but they make their fees higher on the back end. What I would recommend here is get an outside lender, no matter what you do. Even if you decide not to do new construction, have an outside lender that you trust look at those fees for you, right? Get pre-approved with them first and then look at those fees. The other mistake that I see that they make is they don't take that off the price of the home. Now you're better off actually reducing the price of the home versus actually reducing the interest rate. Why? Well, in a couple of years, you can actually take the interest rate, and if the rates go down, you can move that rate down by refinancing. Some of these lenders, in fact, will give you a free refi after 6 months. So you can refi. I would rather have more money off the price of the home and actually refi later. So it's another thing I see happen with new construction. The other thing I see happen with new construction is people are going to new construction without knowing these two things: what the taxes are. I'm looking at a good price and I'm looking at getting interest rate down in the 4% range. Awesome. But I don't really care about the property taxes, right? Or that's what I hear some people do. The reality is property taxes in some of these areas with new construction are 3.10%, which means that, yeah, you're getting a $300,000 home, but the tax rate on that home is so incredibly high that you actually end up outpacing yourself with the taxes. What happens with new construction is the builders would say, okay, the tax rate's this, our estimate is this. Well, then the city goes, the tax rate's 3%. The house is worth $500,000, even though you paid $300,000, and the taxes are extremely high. So I think it's really, really important that buyers look at the property taxes and really use your realtor to go look at some of the homes that have been maybe bought in that new construction neighborhood and see what the taxes are now. That way you can kind of get a better idea to know what the taxes are. Because the last thing you want to do is have really high property taxes and get price out of the home. Now, the other thing is they buy in a new construction area and then they don't realize that they maybe are going to have to move in a couple of years. Well, what happens with new construction is if you buy in a new construction neighborhood that's going to be building out for many, 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 many years, the challenge you run into is if you have to sell in that time, you may have your builder be your competition moving forward, right? So let's say I buy a house 2 years later, I got to sell it, and the builder's still in full build out. They can drop the price. They can add incentives. They can do a lot of things that you can't do because your bottom line is caught up. And that's why I said earlier, it's more important to get the lowest price possible in the house than sometimes they take all of these fee incentives on the back end to get a lower rate or to get a better job with the lender. So that's something you're thinking about. If you can shift those fees into reducing the price of the home, that might be a better way to go. I'm seeing some of the buyers, they jump on a property and they don't negotiate properly. And here's what I mean. They'll see a home and they'll fall in love with the home, and then they get the inspection, and then the inspection comes back that it needs a ton of work, and they're not negotiating enough on some of those fees. We actually just advise a client to back away from a property. So that's one thing, is they're not negotiating hard enough on the inspection side. Now, you don't want to blow up over deal over the inspection typically, but some buyers will get emotionally attached to a home and they'll stay with it. That's actually partly why we're seeing so many people fall out of contract as well. So the cancellation numbers are quite a bit higher right now. Some of those buyers that should back out are staying with it because they fall in love, they get emotionally attached. This is where you need to have a good realtor who's not tied up in the commission as well, and making sure that they're actually advising you. We just had a client we told it's better for you to back out because this foundation issue, you're going to want to walk away from. So if there's issues on the inspection, walk away. Other ways they're not negotiating hard enough is they're asking for closing costs versus getting the price down as much as you can. Now, as a seller, it doesn't really matter to you if you're taking off the price or if you're taking off the incentives, right? So like, let's say a house is $500,000. I bring a buyer and the buyer goes, I want to get the house for $490 and $10,000 in closing costs. Okay, your closing costs right now are lower, but if I can get that price of that home down to $480 or $475 or $460, you're much better doing that than taking money in closing costs. Now, look, not every buyer can afford to pay all those closing costs. So that makes a lot of sense that you would do that. But just know, keep negotiating on the price. And sellers, just know that this market, we're seeing a lot of buyers negotiate. Luckily, on the sell side, we've been pricing homes so accurately that we're still getting multiple offers. Now, what we're seeing with the multiple offers and some of the mistakes, we're seeing some of these buyers just back away from a deal versus actually going a little bit over list price. Don't be afraid to go over a little bit over list price and compete on a house that's priced right. Again, you're going to need a good realtor to actually evaluate that process and evaluate the price in that home. We just had clients that missed out on an amazing home. They could have gone a couple $1,000s more and got the home they really, really wanted, to negotiate and get a lower price. I'm telling you to go over list price. But that, I'm telling you, in the scenario where a lot of the homes on the market right now aren't price accurate, there's too many homes on the market in a specific neighborhood. If there's no homes on the market in a neighborhood and it's a neighborhood you want to be in and it's priced right and there's multiple buyers, don't be afraid to negotiate and go up a little bit and get that home. Does that all make sense? You following me? Do you agree, or do you think I'm just absolutely crazy? The other thing I'm seeing people do is they're not being patient. Now, look, if there's a neighborhood where there's a lot of homes on the market and you negotiate and you can't get the price you want, don't be afraid to actually go get a better deal on a different house, especially in a neighborhood where there's lots of homes on the market right now. So some buyers that I'm seeing are just jumping in and buying. Well, I think it's really better that you actually are a little patient. Not be so patient that you don't buy a home, but be patient enough to actually get the right deal. One other issue that I'm really seeing with buyers and with sellers too is they're not really interviewing the agents. Some agents, they go on volume, and so you're just another clog in the machine. What I really think it's important is to really ask, what are some of the deals that you've gotten with clients recently? How have you helped clients in this market? Where have you advised clients to back out of a deal or go through a deal? What are some of the things that you've actually talked with clients about? Because the reality is, in this market, especially in the Austin area, if there's a lot of inventory and your agent's not negotiating in your best interest, you might have the wrong agent. The other thing is, some of these brand new agents that I'm seeing don't know how to navigate this market. And some of these really old time agents that just want to get a deal done don't know how to negotiate in the market either. So make sure that you're asking a ton of questions. If you want a list of questions, actually just go to the website and email us saying, hey, I want a list of questions to ask my realtor, and we'll actually give that to you as well. All right, do you think these things are helpful or not helpful? Now, let's actually talk about sellers. Sellers, I really do think it's appropriate that you price your home well under what you think it should sell for. I know that's so crazy to hear because you want the most for your home, but we are seeing multiple offers on homes that are priced right, where there's not a lot of inventory. Homes that are priced high in an area where there's a lot of inventory, we're running into a lot of problems with clients that homes are just end up sitting on the market. And the reality is, if you're sitting on the market more than 30 days, that means that price is going to be coming down, down, and down again. And what I'm seeing with some sellers is they're not reducing price fast enough. So you get to that 14-day mark and they don't reduce their price, or 30 days now on market, well, you are now behind the trend. So these are some of the things that I'm seeing buyers and sellers do in the market. You tell me, what else have you seen that is a big problem? Drop a comment below. I'm Jeremy Knight, your favorite Austin realtor. We'll see you in the next video.